Hi everyone, myself A.K. Magrum, working as lecturer in University Polytechnic Kedra. Today, in this session, we covered the remaining part of gear manufacturing process, unit number 3 of advanced manufacturing process. Here, in previous lectures, we covered the different manufacturing methods of gear and different finishing methods of a gear, like a gear hobbing process is there, gear shaving process is there, gear lapping process is there. These are the various different gear finishing processes we are already covered in the previous lectures, but only the part remaining, which is a gear honing process and gear burnishing process, which is remaining under this gear manufacturing process of finishing operations of gear manufacturing process. Before start the lecture, I request all of you to subscribe my YouTube channel to getting the new videos and lecture materials on this channel. So let us start with what are the lecture contents which are covered in this session. First of all, there is what is the meaning of gear honing process, how it is actually carried out, what are the different applications of this gear honing process, that much part which is covered under the 3.5U. Next, second point is the gear burnishing process, how the burnishing process is carried out in the gear finishing process. That part is which is covered in this session also. Next, last one is the comparison between gear burnishing and gear grinding process. So that much part which is covered in this session of 3.5 gear honing and gear burnishing process. So let us begin with gear honing. Honing is which is actually used for a finishing operation, or may be called as a super finishing operations. Means whenever we want to improve the accuracy, improve the dimensional accuracy of the workpiece or component, in that case honing operation is carried out. But according to our syllabus, there is a gear honing, means we want to improve the accuracy of a gear, means whatever the unnecessarily unwanted scratches which are present over that gear tools, and that will be making a noise at the time of meshing. So avoid that problem or remove that problem, and there is the smooth running we want to carry out. For that purpose, there is the gear finishing process is actually required. So in that there is we learn the different gear finishing process, but in that there is the gear honing is a super finishing operations. Means with the help of that honing operation of a gear, we directly improve the quality and surface roughness of that component or tools of the gear, which is we are directly improve. For that purpose, gear honing process is very important. Before start the discussion regarding the gear honing process, I request all of you to observe this video, then you getting the clear idea related to gear honing process. This is the actual gear honing is carried out. This blue color shade is a honing tool, and these are the gears which are continuously meshed with this honing tool, due to which each and every teeth which is come into contact with this honing tool, and there is a certain quantity of material which is separated from that gear surface, which is an unwanted material which is present over that gear tools. So in this way, there is the gear honing process is actually carried out for the gear finishing operations. Here there is the very small particles which are separated, due to which there is the whatever the unwanted scratches or maybe the unwanted particles which are present over that gear teeth, which are separated from that gear tools. So in this way, we are improving the dimensional accuracy of that gear tools. For that purpose, this gear honing is a very important tool. So this is the you getting the detailed idea regarding the gear honing process. That gear honing tool which is come into contact with a manufactured gear, and once that should be meshed with that gear hob, in that case there is the certain quantity of little quantity of material which is removed from that surface and improve the accuracy, dimensional accuracy of that gear. So for that purpose, this is called as a gear finishing operation, like a gear honing process. So let us start the discussion regarding the gear honing process. It is a super finishing operation used for previously machined surfaces. Means whenever we manufacture the gear with a different mechanisms or different machining methods, then we cannot use the gear directly for the different applications. In that case, before going to use that gear, we want to carry out the different finishing and super finishing operations. In that, there is the honing is the super finishing operation, and which is required to improve the dimensional accuracy and surface roughness value. It should be improved, due to which what will be happen whenever the gears are meshed with each other. In that case, there is no noise will be takes place, and there may be one more another advantage is what whenever gear honing operation is carried over the manufactured gear. In that case, there may be no chance of backlash at the time of meshing. For that purpose, there is the gear honing is a very important machining which is carried out over the manufactured gear. Next, it is used for finishing internal cylindrical surfaces, drill rod, bored holes. Means what? Whenever we want to improve the dimensional accuracy, means what? Whatever the scratches or maybe the meshing parts are there, there is the internal cylindrical surfaces. All of you observe the cylindrical surface of a engine. In that case, there is the internal cylindrical portion which is a very smooth one. How it is actually we are easily maintained, because in that engine cylinder there is a piston and that cylinder bore which is having a very close tolerance, because there is the very smooth friction which will be takes place in between the piston and that cylinder. So that's why there is the honing operation is actually carried out in that type of operation of cylindrical surfaces or maybe the drilled or bored holes also. Next, the tool is called as a hone, which is made out of bonded abrasive stone made in the form of stick. Here all of you observe the one honing tool is there, which is continuously move in that cylinder up and down, and at the same time this tool having a rotary motion, and whenever this honing stick or tool which is come into contact with this cylindrical surface, there is a certain little quantity of material which is separated from that boring surface or maybe the cylindrical surface, and due to which whenever there is the oval shape is there, uneven surfaces are there, there is the remove or improve that unwanted surfaces or uneven surfaces and maintain the dimensional accuracy of that component. For that purpose, actually gear honing is required for the gear manufacturing process. Next, the tool moves back and forth while rotating about its axis. We already discussed that part. Whenever this tool which is moving in a downward direction, it is move like a back and forth while rotating about its own axis. Means this tool which is rotates about its own vertical axis at that time, this will be moves in back and forth when it is a rotary motion is there. Next, honing operation can be done by two methods. First of all, there is the hand honing. For small lot of workpieces are there. In that case, we directly hone that honing stick is there. We directly rub against that workpiece component and carry out the honing operation. That is nothing but a hand honing operation. Next, second one is the machine honing. For large scale production, special honing machines are used. Means whenever the large quantity of material or large quantity of gears or maybe any other parts we want to hone, means we want to carry out the super finishing operation. In that case, there is the machine honing is a very important aspect we are or maybe the important honing process which is carried out in the gear manufacturing process. Here one video is there, all of you observe here. Here there is the continuously this gear which is come into contact with the honing tool, and then afterwards there is a continuously coolant which is blowing over that surface, and due to which what will be happen, there is the meshing with a gear hone. There is the gear certain different small quantity of material of uneven surfaces. Here all of you observe that one, that honing tool which is meshed with a manufactured gear, and there is a little quantity of material which is separated from that unwanted surface of a gear. So this is all about the gear honing process. Next, the last part of a super finishing operation of a gear manufacturing process, that is a gear burnishing. Before I start the discussion regarding the gear burnishing, all of you observe this small video regarding the gear burnishing process. This is a diamond type gear burnishing process is there. Here all of you observe this one, that gear which is holding over that spindle, and another one end there is the diamond type of burnishing tool is there, which is continuously matched with the manufactured gear, and whatever the unwanted particles or maybe uneven surfaces which are produced over the gear teeth, that should be totally removed. In this image you all of you observe that gear burnishing which is carried out with the help of coolant also, liquid coolant like oil or maybe the another type of coolant which is used for a burnishing operation, because continuously mesh. Here there is the one test will be carried out, gear check on gear roll tester before process. Means what is the actually machining is required, why that gear burnishing is required, gear check on gear roll tester. So in this way there is the gear burnishing which is carried out for improve the dimensional accuracy of a manufactured gear. So this is all about the gear burnishing process. Let us we start the discussion regarding the how it is actually carried out. All of you observe that video, then you are getting the clear idea about the gear burnishing process. The operation consists essentially of rolling the work gear with one or several burnishing gears whose teeth are very hard, smooth and accurate. All of you observe that video, that is the diamond type of gear burnishing tool is there. Means that gear burnishing tool which is a very hard, and due to which what will be happen whenever that gear burnishing tool which is come into contact with the manufactured gear, there is the certain rubbing action will be takes place, and due to which there is the smooth and accurate surface which will be produced with the help of that burnishing tool. Next, the latter gears are driven by a motor. Means there is the every gear while meshed with that manufactured gear surface, or every burnishing teeth which are meshed with the manufactured gear, there is a little quantity of a material or uneven surfaces which is difficult to mesh, that portions which are separated from that gear tooth, and there is a proper meshing which will be takes place. For that purpose there is the gear burnishing is another one more super finishing operation which is carried out for the manufactured gear. Why it is required? Because whenever we want to improve the accuracy at the time of meshing of a gear, in that case there is a gear burnishing which is very important, because it is a totally remove the backlash. Backlash means there is the improper meshing of a gear which is totally removed with the help of this gear burnishing and gear honing operation. One more important advantage is what? For conduction of smooth operation, for that purpose also smooth meshing is required. For that purpose there is a gear burnishing and gear honing which is a super finishing operations which are carried out over the manufactured gear. So this much about the different super finishing and finishing operations which are carried out after the post manufacturing of after the manufacturing of gear, that is called as a post operations of manufacturing of gear. So what is the difference, basic difference between gear burnishing and gear grinding? First of all, the workpiece gear is mounted on a vertical reciprocating shaft in contact and under pressure with the 3 hardened burnishing gears. Burnishing means what? Where actually we want to carry out the burnishing operation. In that case, all of you observe that in previous slide, observe one image. There is the 3 gears which are come into contact with the one single gear. That 3 gears means nothing but a burnishing gears. While that 3 burnishing gears which are come into contact with the manufactured gear, there is each and every gear which is remove the little quantity of material. But while we think about the gear grinding, in this case the workpiece gear is mounted on indexing head in contact with the form and dressed gear grinding wheel or wheels. Means there is the individual grinding wheel which is come into contact with that gear tools, and little quantity of material which is separated from that gear tools. So that is the basic difference. Next, all the teeth of gear are finished at a time. That is a very important advantage of this gear burnishing, because burnishing tool which is a look like a gear, So that's why each and every teeth which is come into contact with a manufactured gear, so at the same time all the teeth are getting finished while we conducting the gear burnishing operation. Next one is the, while we think about the gear grinding, there is the teeth are finished one by one. That is the drawback. At the time of grinding, only one teeth which is finished after the completion of grinding operation. So this is the drawback of this gear grinding operation while compared with the burnishing process. Next, quick process. That is a very important advantage, and this is one is the slower process. This difference you clearly understood that quicker process means what? Because each and every tooth which is come into contact with the gear burnishing tool, for that purpose or for that reason only, there is the, it is a quick process. We can cover within a shortest time, we can cover that gear burnishing operation. But while we think about the gear grinding process, this is the lengthy process, because each and every tooth having a one separate operation. For that reason, there is the slow process compared to burnishing. Next one, new method of gear finishing, old method of gear finishing. Means all of you know the gear grinding is a very older method of a gear manufacturing or gear finishing processes. But burnishing is a new technology nowadays which is required or which is implemented in the various industry for a gear finishing operations. Next, it is a process of finishing gear before hardening. And here it is a process of finishing gear after hardening. That is a very important advantage of gear grinding. Actually, gear burnishing which is carried out before the hardening of that case hardening or maybe the tip hardening of that gear, we are carried out. But whenever we think about the gear grinding, in that case you can carry out that gear grinding operation after the hardening of that particular gear case hardening or maybe the face hardening of a gear teeth. So that is the actual advantage of a gear grinding process. Next, less accurate, highly accurate. Why? Because less accurate, because each and every teeth which are come into contact with that surface of a gear burnishing teeth, and there may be a chances of any drawbacks or any improper surfaces you are getting over that gear burnishing tooth. There is the chance, there may be a chances to same impressions or same backlashes which are trying to generate it at the time of burnishing. So that's why it is called as a less accurate. And why it is a highly accurate? Because single individual teeth we are grinding with the help of grinding operation. So that's why it is a compared to burnishing process which is a highly accurate. Next, cheaper than gear grinding. So no doubt burnishing is a very cheaper than the grinding process, and grinding is costlier than the burnishing process. And last one is the, after burnishing, gear surface have a small metal is present over that, or smear metal, means there is the small chips or maybe the burr of surface which is present over that burnishing teeth. But after grinding, gear surface have a small scratches, means in a burnishing there are the small particles are present. In the grinding process there are the small scratches which are present over that gear teeth. So these are the basic differences between the gear burnishing and gear grinding process. Next, what is the gear finishing methods we are learning in this session? First of all, there is the gear shaving, how it is actually carried out and what is the importance of that gear shaving process. Next, gear grinding process. This part is also covered in this previous 2 to 3 sessions. In that there is the form wheel grinding, generation grinding, threaded wheel grinding. There are the various grinding methods are there, but gear grinding we are already learned in this session. Gear lapping, all of you observe the various different videos of these gear finishing methods, so you getting the clear idea regarding these gear finishing methods. Next, last one is the gear honing. This part is also covered in this gear finishing methods. And last one is the gear burnishing methods. So these all are the gear finishing methods. These number 4 and 5, these are the we called as a super finishing operations, and these are the finishing operations. Why it is a super finishing operation means this is a highly accurate component we are produced with the help of this gear honing or gear burnishing products. So these are called as a post processing or post finishing operations of a manufactured gear. So this much about the gear finishing methods and various gear manufacturing methods we are learned in this gear manufacturing of gear. So this chapter is a very important point of your exam, because this is a very limited contents which are defined under this syllabus, and having a maximum weightage and very easy to understood, because all of you handle that gears, and there are the various manufacturing methods we are observing in this session also. So this is the unit number 3, manufacturing of gear process. This part is covered in this last 5 to 6 lectures. So this much about the manufacturing of gear processes. Thank you very much.